Yeah, we've got a Britain's War from both players picking the kind of what would generally be agreed to be the best civ that was remaining for them. So that means that when we see a game 4, and we will with the score being 1-1, it will be team random for that one. So a couple of mirror games coming up. Let's have a look at the maps first and foremost. I'm going to start with RiuT in the east corner of the map in blue because we've still got team colours on. Pretty decent, I would say, actually. The top part of his map is really easy to close off and keep that woodline looking pretty safe. His main goal is fairly sheltered, being more towards the back of the map, and easily able to walk between those forests as well to stop MbL coming in from the south side. So I think a pretty nice map to defend for RiuT, and space to boom in the back as well. The only negative being that third gold, which is really out in the middle of the map between the two players. Going over to look at MbL, we can see a really nice map as well. His woodline is pretty good, although he's only got one very close by. But back gold and berries, and a second back gold as well, with some nice cliffs to wall with in the south. And actually a fourth gold that belongs to the map, not too far away from his third. So I think both players are pretty good maps. And with Britons, often you see a drush play into going for crossbowmen, which tends to lead itself to a kind of cagey, raiding oriented time in the Castle Age, and then progression into the late game. So if both players play it in that way, we could end up seeing more of an Imperial Age war on this map, I think, unless it's decided by some very clutch crossbow play in the Castle Age.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see this game last a bit longer, as we see indeed RiuT having 4 on wood right now. I'm not sure what MbL is up to, as he doesn't have the 4 on wood for now, but he seems to have a bill ready for his Boar in the north. He dropped a house there earlier. Seems a bit weird, is now sending the 4-1 to wood. I'm not entirely sure if it's just going to be the drush from down, keeping an eye on the balls, or...
Oh, his Boar ran back.
Oh, just blocking a bit too much with the sheep, and the veil being too damaged. A bit of a clunky start.
Yeah, what I saw from him
MbL
actually was
so
that
far.
he was luring that northern boar, and he sent another villager to lure the eastern boar, and it got halfway there, and then he right-clicked and sent it to the woodline. So it was almost like he went to lure the other boar, having forgotten that he'd already gone to lure the first boar.
Yeah, indeed, it seemed a bit like it, so a bit mixed up in thought. Hope it doesn't delay him too much, as it seems, I think that both players will be going for the rush, as you mentioned, it's really strong for the Britons. We see both players having 4 on wood. And from there on, I don't really favor anyone too much in the dress scenario, I believe.
Yeah,
And we see MbL actually taking a ball from RiuT away.
Yep, luring that one around the north. I was looking at how much food was left on that boar that RiuT had actually when MbL was struggling to lure in that boar so much, and it seemed he got his first boar in pretty late. So I don't know whether he was having any boar-related difficulties whilst whilst we were concentrating on MbL getting his own in. But yeah, MbL with 3 boars for the second game in a row, I think.
Well, RiuT is scouting it right now, I believe, but he's not really able to stop it at this point. And MbL scout barely surviving from here, and RiuT simply unable to relay many balls.
The nice thing for RiuT is those deer that he has are really easy to either push in towards the town centre or the mill, or even just take with some villagers from close by to the mill. RiuT will know how to react to that boar steal, and I don't think it will disadvantage him so much.
Look at MbL now, walling and RiuT scout behind the berries.
Yeah, that's really nice move actually.
And it might help quite a bit, because obviously in the rush the scouts play quite a big of a role, and we saw MbL scout getting quite damaged, getting the baller, getting the lame in, so it can actually help him quite a bit in this scenario. And now he's suddenly... Okay, it seems like he decided to finish up the scout, sending 2 bills in, making sure it doesn't get out any time. Maybe he just got annoyed by the alarm sound, I mean, but
Yeah, potentially. MbL actually just retreating one tile as well to let him attack it with 2 villagers, which was nice. But see the drush from RiuT actually now leaving his base. There was a little bit of a gap when he was producing his 3rd. We were thinking that he'd actually be able to get his drush into MbL's base, considering he had that boar a little bit earlier. But obviously now, perhaps not quite as fast with the drush after having the boar taken. But nonetheless, it still feels like he's going to be the one applying pressure to his opponent's map with that drush.
Yeah, MbL was quite late getting the additional 10 gold to actually get a turret militia out, so that's why his drush was a bit later. And next to that, his virus was a bit later as well, so I guess that's kind of explaining what happened over here, but they might just run into each other. And now I'm curious, will MbL be able to use this scout to favor? I mean, obviously it's going to give him more information about the drush, and he seems to be the one fighting first, but he needs to be careful, because obviously you want to keep the scout alive, get in as much information as possible.
Neither player really committing to that drush as yet. We see RiuT with half HP on one of his militia, whereas all the HP remain for MbL for now. And it seems like MbL is going to manage to just ignore RiuT's drush and go out into the opposite side of the map, and perhaps even force RiuT back with that drush. And MbL has walled once again. We've seen him wall every single game thus far. He's only given himself a small area to work with, but he just needs to defend that perimeter until Feudal Age, really, because obviously Britons, you can drop those TCs and basically secure your perimeter so much faster when you get to the Castle Age.
And I like MbL now going forward with the militias. He's just going to miss the veils on the deer, but yeah, as his own map is already so walled in, and it was quite easy to wall, so I can't blame him. From there on, he obviously is going to look whether he can do some damage to RiuT. As RiuT is, well, he sees it coming a little bit, he's responding. But still, MbL forcing some idle time, and we know in those games, every little bit of idle time is going to count.
Yeah, it's a really nice play by MbL actually to just... Because I think he'd only scouted the gold, but he knew it was going to be a good target to hit, because obviously with the Britons, most players are probably looking to pull off a drush fast castle into crossbowmen if they're able to do. And you can see that gold is quite exposed, and it's also at the bottom of a hill, so it's a really nice spot to attack with your drush. So MbL is kind of prioritising that gold as a target.
Nice fight for MbL with the drush. Nice micro from here, good focusing, and nice use of the hill advantage, and that's going to... Well, I don't think it's going to cause RiuT a veil, but still a lot of idle time, and those pesky militias will be around for a bit longer.
Trying to, MbL's trying to pick on another veil, but still only going down to 15 HP. But RiuT, we can see, has only... Yeah, he might just about get that gold in probably actually just a few seconds after he actually has the buildings constructed, but RiuT was also going to be needing another 10 or 20 seconds to get the food, so in the end it hasn't delayed RiuT's Castle Age time, but like you say, it's time that he's actually not collecting those resources, and those militia are still alive. So, don't know if RiuT's left a... No, he hasn't left a significantly injured villager on the gold, but he can continue to harass on the way to the Castle Age, and that could translate into mining slightly less gold for a difference of 1 archer or something like that, which will definitely help out in those early Castle Age micro wars that we're probably going to see. But RiuT's done really well actually with his Castle Age time, because he lost a boar and he's still only 19 seconds behind MbL, even with losing the boar and all that harassment on the gold. So he kind of transitioned onto the deer and dealt with that really effectively, not really losing out any time at all.
Yeah, but it does mean RiuT is going to be a bit late on his second archer range, but it isn't a huge disaster for now, I feel. And it seems like the drush is finally taken care of, but RiuT losing one last veil to it.
I was actually looking away for a second then. Did you say that the villager went down for RiuT?
Yeah, 1 veil on gold for RiuT went down when the drush did its last damage.
Yeah, well in fact that's actually the difference in the Castle Age timings then was down to RiuT electing to go up by 1 more villager, which means that he wasn't disturbed by that boar steal at all in terms of slowed down. But we can see that perhaps the Drush harassing the gold means that MbL has a slight lead on that archer production, and he's moving in with 2 more archers than RiuT had out on the field, and he's crossed the map with them. Crossbowman obviously kicking in a little bit earlier due to the uptime as well, and RiuT just has to get out of there with his archers for now until he gets that crossbow upgrade and a couple of more archers come out of his ranges and he can choose to fight.
Yeah, we see RiuT actually struggling a little bit getting production on his archer ranges. He is dropping a TC, however, but also a TC and a university going up for MbL right now.
Yep, as you say, no production going on in those archery ranges. University is really nice to... hang on, who's going for university? Oh yeah, MbL.
MbL in the back.
Yeah, so really nice if he gets that early ballistics to help him win those early Castle Age micro wars with the crossbowmen, and taking a numbers advantage in the early Castle Age can kind of set you up for being ahead in military for the rest of Castle Age. So early ballistics could end up being really decisive here.
Yeah, we actually see the Drush doing quite a bit of work for MbL here, as we saw the idle time on RiuT's ranges here. Even though RiuT is now trying to get aggressive a little bit, he might risk his 6 or 5 expos doing so, but he's keeping MbL busy for quite a bit, so that might buy him some valuable time, as he was behind on military for a little while. But on the other hand, losing those expos, he might be back on
really
military
nice
a bit
trap.
longer.
All of those expos for RiuT are going to go down now, and that's going to put MbL like so far ahead in military terms. He's only just getting that ballistics now, but he's taken down all of RiuT's crossbows with barely a loss of his own. Actually, I think he maybe lost 1 in all of that and picks up half a dozen kills. You can see the kill to death ratio is absolutely skewed in MbL's favour there, 10-4.
RiuT, instead of going for university at this stage, is actually going to siege workshop, maybe knowing he's more in a defensive position from now on. He knows he's back on military, needs to rely on the MbL to maybe get his defense settled a bit, as MbL probably will be the offender for the first stage of the game. That might be very interesting, especially with RiuT's quite forward woodline right now. I feel like Expos can easily harass those villages and have an easy way to escape, really.
I was surprised to see RiuT not choosing to just wall northwards to that cliff line and then up above next to where the relic is from the cliff line to the extra edge of the map, just to give himself that little bit more protection. But if he does get pushed away from there, he's got good backwood line to retreat to as well, and that will last him for a decent amount of game minutes. So I think with a MbL, some crossbows of his own, he'll probably be able to protect that wood line, but it's not going to be too bad if he does get pushed away from it.
We also see RiuT being on stone right now, but I'm not entirely sure what we... Oh, never mind. He spent some stone on the stone walls in the south and a gate on the west, obviously, so that's why he needs to get some additional stone in before he's able to drop this to a town centre.
You see the ballistics really paying off for MbL. They're just able to snipe one of RiuT's crossbows from behind that wall. When RiuT, as long as MbL keeps moving around with his crossbows, just won't be able to touch him. Not even the MbL because of the range. But yeah, I think inevitably RiuT on stone, because he'll want to add 3 if not 4 town centres. The inclination is always there to add that 4th with Britons because they're so cheap in terms of the actual wood cost. But like you say, he's having spent some stone on those walls. Needed to jump on stone sooner rather than later. MbL actually pushing out and locating another woodline further to the south with his 3rd town centre, and I guess we might even see a 4th at some point, perhaps on that woodline and stone to the top right of his base.
Yeah, just with the Britain CCs being so cheap, it's always a nice investment. Maybe just even more to keep your villages safe than actually to get the production in at an earlier time. Obviously you are going to use it if you're going to drop it, but it's also really nice to make sure your fields are safe against any potential crossbow raids, even though MbL seems, as we can't expect it to be, the one on the offense for now.
Yeah, MbL's just doing such enormous damage from behind that woodline there. I think he picked up maybe 6 villages and he was just picking up a kill with every shot. Ballistics, as we keep underlining, just so good to actually micro and pick up kills at the start of the Castle Age, whether that's shooting at villagers or crossbows. And RiuT just, that's a pretty damaging loss to have so much iron on your wood eco when you're just dropping TCs, and then lose half a dozen villagers as well. So MbL taking a lead of a few villagers now, whilst also having double the military on the field. He is only now getting wheelbarrow on bowsaw though, so I'm not sure if he's been slightly behind RiuT in terms of economic upgrades, which to some extent would make up for the slight villager difference. But
MbL is dropping a 4th town centre on his additional gold now, by the way, so that means MbL will be sitting at 40 Cs, RiuT will be sitting at 3 town centre, and he's going to secure these 2 nice additional gold piles on the left. And yeah, from here on, I think, what would you like to see MbL do from this position? I mean, obviously he's doing what he can to pick up some villages here and then, and he's doing a great job. But I was thinking about maybe getting a forward siege workshop of his own, and there's actually quite a bit of manganese going down on the expos, picking up 5, I believe.
Yeah, I think 4, which has helped to even the crossbow count somewhat, but MbL has more moving around the rest of his map, and to be honest, at this point he knows he's ahead. I mean, he knows he's just gone up to 4 town centres. He can probably surmise that RiuT isn't on that, and MbL is kind of a boom oriented player, and I think he, at this point, as I say, he knows he's got an advantage, and I wouldn't think he would then just try and push it with Britons. I think he'd probably be more inclined to go for the macro solution to solidifying that advantage and just try and make sure he stays ahead, keep an eye on what RiuT's doing, and just make sure he does enough production, and then go to the Imperial Age with some kind of disadvantage. But RiuT with a nice trap here, actually engaging MbL's crossbows from both sides. MbL's army split up with half of it over in the left side of the map, and it's almost like no real attempt by MbL to actually save those. So all of a sudden we're looking at a situation where RiuT is the person with the most power on the field in terms of Castle Age army now, because although army numbers are equal, that's 2 mangonels for RiuT making a big difference. And although MbL slightly ahead in the game overall up until that point, I think, and I was saying he may play it cautiously and try and click up, as he has just done actually. That's a very fast Imperial Age time. RiuT has the ability to make a difference now because he's the one with the siege on the field whilst having the same number of crossbows. And he did get ballistics as well, so potential for RiuT to that one mangonel
not getting any of the mangonels.
Yeah,
but one small thing that we should also keep in mind is that RiuT actually has +1 defense on the expos as well, so that's going to make the fights a bit easier for him. And one small other thing I would like to mention is that RiuT is in 4 town centers as well right now. But with this TC of MbL being so forward and at the bottom of a hill, I think RiuT might be able to do quite a lot of damage over here.
The issue is though the difference in Imperial Age times though, because the Imperial Age upgrade is just so powerful for Britons, because Arbalests are so tough to deal with when you're in the Castle Age, but when you're Britons and those Arbalests get another +1 range anyway, they suddenly become absolute terrors on the battlefield when you're in the Castle Age. And it'll be interesting to see if MbL is able to just come right back the other way with that Arbalest upgrade. For now though, like you say, RiuT with the initiative and couple of minutes perhaps to do some very good damage to MbL whilst he's ahead in the military terms. But one mangonel popping out of that siege workshop and picking up, oh no, not quite picking up both of RiuT's. A lot of dodgeball going on at the moment.
And the expo making a difference over there. Seems like 1 to C down for MbL, but he still has reasonably safe goals a bit further in the back of the base, so that means he will indeed continue to actually get those very strong arbalests out once he is in Imperial. And RiuT is now clicking up as well, but as you mentioned, 3 minutes is quite a big time frame for MbL to maybe see if he can return some damage, or at least stop this push for now.
Yeah, given that MbL was always, in the context of this game, clicking up a few minutes earlier than RiuT, the fact that RiuT did get those picks on the way to the Castle Age, trapping that, well, kind of catching out that crossbow army on the right hand side or in the middle of the map and then doing that damage that he's just done. Oh my god, that's a huge mangonel shot coming out of the siege workshop of MbL. He's picked off a number of crossbows and then kill both of RiuT's mangonels, and now Arbalests on the field. With Bracer
we see
by
RiuT now getting a defensive castle. Might be opting for longbow later in this game, or maybe it's just rather to secure this hill, which I think might be quite important as it kind of continues to the main hill in front of MbL's base. It might be a good aggressive point for both players, so it might be that RiuT wants to make sure he can hold his position. We also see, I couldn't see whether it was a siege workshop or castle going up for MbL. It was a siege workshop as he doesn't have any stone right now.
Yeah, I think that castle is just really nice for RiuT because it kind of, that area is a funnel into RiuT's base. Like MbL has to attack through there because anywhere else he goes is basically either walking through a town centre from that southwards direction, the forward one, or hitting up against stone walls, even though RiuT has now opened a gap in the bottom part of the map. But yeah, really good castle. And the thing is, it buys him time. It also invested into elite skirmisher, and actually his second castle on that hill as well, which no, MbL doesn't have enough over there, just 3 Arbalests to deny. But yeah, it buys the time for RiuT, and that could be pivotal because MbL really prioritised that Imperial Age. RiuT was going up with an extra 15 villagers or so, and he continues to have a 20 villager advantage. So you know, it could have been a tough few minutes for RiuT when MbL got to the Imperial Age, got those Arbalests quickly, but I think he's navigated it pretty well. Like MbL's Arbalests were mostly sitting in his own base, cleaning up what RiuT had there, than actually doing damage on the other side of the map. And I'd say that as RiuT's negotiated this pretty well, and he's in a good position now, just in terms of a macro sense because of more villagers. Although he still doesn't have much army on the field.
And yeah, one thing I fear as well for RiuT is we see MbL now stacking up some siege. Probably is going to research Capram quite soon as he has the food. And I see nothing on RiuT's side so far, which is actually going to deal with those rams. So that might be a very strong push for MbL if RiuT isn't going to get a response ready in time, because there's not really a lot of siege workshop of RiuT's on his own. And there's nothing like Cavill infantry obviously coming anytime soon, which is able to deal with the rams.
Just looking at this fight up in the north, actually getting a really nice trap on a bunch of Arbalests. There were probably 15 or so Arbalests there, and he's taking them down with elite skirmishers, which is really nice because it means that MbL wouldn't be able to bring those Arbalests back to help that push on the castles. And although RiuT doesn't have a lot to deal with the rams, MbL with, he's now adding in more rams, so he's got about 7, but still batching rams for now, capped ram not coming in at this moment. And the castles are kind of, I would say, very close to being in overlapping fields of fire, which will make them difficult to push, especially with them being potentially a bit uphill as well. But look in the south, all these villagers coming out for RiuT trying to secure that extra gold, and MbL right there with his Arbalests, picking up 4 kills and forcing RiuT to go back. And I'm kind of interested if MbL is going to find the southern part of RiuT's economy where that gold and that wood line is. I mean, he's kind of nosed around there with a couple of units, but I don't think he's quite uncovered the full extent of how many RiuT villages are there. I'm going to see what he sees. But yeah,
Well,
he
he
see
sees
the
a lot of
camp,
Catrice and he knows the goal is over there, and now he's spotting the villages, so there might be a lot of damage coming out from MbL. We're trying to run away, has some skirmishes in the neighbourhood, but this is going to be very costly.
RiuT's just trying to run straight past. His army's coming, but that's going to be 7 or so villages going down, maybe even more. Yeah, it could be 8 or 9 actually by the time his army arrives. And although MbL's seemingly asking to have his army trapped again, especially with ballistics and everything, probably hitting him as he comes out now, he's just going to fight that because it's better than running to do some damage. But RiuT losing so many villages and so much gold mining. But the nice thing is that the army has been lured away, and look at all these rams coming in for MbL in the middle now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rams, and there's
We have 2 mangonels of RiuT being ready to try and deal with it, but that isn't an awful lot, especially not with all the Arbalests being around.
Yeah, and actually he's researching Onager, but it's just not going to be in time. Not at all. At least one of those castles is going to go down, potentially 2. So MbL sacrificing army in the bottom corner, but picking up 9 or so vills for his trouble, and it allows him to remove all this map control that RiuT has in the middle of the map. The Onagers finally coming out now, 4 of them, and that should be enough to force those rams away and keep that castle alive. But it's a really big thing for MbL to have even got rid of that castle in the north, because it means you can hit that gold really from that hill without really straying into the range of the castle that much. Obviously doesn't waste the rest of his rams pushing against those onagers. But Onager's kind of an interesting choice in the Britain's War, because they're comfortably outranged by the Arbalests by 2 ranged. Actually no, it's only just 1 range at the moment. But I think with Yeoman coming out, that can go up to 2 range.
Yeah, but the Yeoman is being researched for RiuT, the one having the onagers right now.
Yeah.
So MbL might struggle a little bit with it. He's going to need to pay a lot of attention, as 1 range at this stage of the game, it's going to be hard to know whether or not the onager will be firing at the
God, is MbL looking? Is MbL looking? Just about, and spots it in time. But he's not going back now. He's going to lose a whole bunch more on Arbalests, and he's straying back into the line of fire with this. He's really not quite paying enough attention to those Arbalests, and now RiuT's army is looking pretty disgustingly powerful, because it's just so difficult to micro against that number of onagers for the moment. I wonder if there's any kind of reaction from MbL at home, but just need to concentrate on this fight. MbL can just get handcart actually.
Yeah, quite late.
It's so unusual for him, because he's such a macro-focused player normally. Don't normally see him missing those sorts of upgrades like this.
One thing which is a bit against MbL's favour here as well, or maybe something which I would have liked to see differently, is maybe get a defensive castle of his own to maybe stop RiuT's pushing a little bit, or stall for a bit longer, but he just didn't get any stone for now. So no defensive castle, and the wood in the back of his base is actually running out a little bit, so he might be forced to go forward or maybe expand to the north a bit more.
Look at the south part of the map where MbL was trying to take stone with half a dozen villages, and RiuT has picked that off as well.
Oh, ouch.
But his main stone in front of his base remains untouched, as you say. He's only just starting to mine much of that second stone in the north.
And now MbL is getting onager, but at the same time we see RiuT getting light cav in, so that might be a nasty surprise for MbL once he has them out. Really favouring RiuT at this point of the game, as he's having quite a strong push, and also being ahead in eco quite a bit, just in general in population, being on the offense.
Yeah, and he has all the map control. He holds this hill in the middle of the map, although some big onager shots from MbL could potentially turn that around, but I don't really think so. But RiuT has all the resources in the south, with the map control and the stables, and MbL is just losing on a military sense and getting backed into this corner, and RiuT looking to have an absolute stranglehold over that game, and MbL resigns. But interestingly and unusually, a Britain's player has just won a game without click in the Imperial Age, having been in the Imperial Age for 10 or 15 minutes and not clicked Arbalest yet.
Indeed, I was surprised as well. But as you mentioned, I really love how RiuT actually grabbed map control, and from there on it really worked out in his favour, as we've seen him pushing, we've seen him using the map, we've seen him denying a lot of resources, even though I really liked some spots of MbL's play where he went aggressive, where he took a time frame to get a castle down. I also love how RiuT played it out on this map.
You can see that in terms of economy as well. By the end he was doing so much better with a lot more food and wood collected. Village is more or less the same, but RiuT had them a lot earlier, and MbL missing handcart as well explains the difference there. The onager play was really big as well actually.